Tonight on Steelers Talk, there's some new speculation surrounding Aaron Rodgers that we'll kick the show off with today. Then we'll get into two quote-unquote Plan B quarterback options for the Pittsburgh Steelers that are now officially available on the market. Then we'll talk about the confirmed Combine formal meetings that were announced today for the black and gold, keeping you guys updated from the very latest coming from Indianapolis at the NFL Combine. But before we get into the content today, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel because breaking news could happen at any moment. There is even a trade in the National Football League today. If the Steelers make a trade, if they cut somebody, if Rodgers decides to come out of retirement, well, I guess he's not retired right now, but if he makes his decision, we're going to have breaking news coverage for you guys. Also, we'll be providing our daily and free video content on the channel as well. We're going to be going live tomorrow, just so you guys know, 6 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. We'll be having our weekly live show, so make sure you guys join us for that. And all that content, guys, it's 100% free. So join the largest individually run Steelers news program anywhere here on YouTube by clicking that subscribe button and joining the Steelers Talk family today. All right, so let's get to this report from Tony Pauline, who says that this quote-unquote sense at the NFL Combine this week is that Pittsburgh is quote-unquote banking on Aaron Rodgers returning this year and that the team is operating as if Rodgers will be their starting quarterback next season. This is what Tony had to say in his report from the NFL Combine earlier today. The sense around the Combine is that the Pittsburgh Steelers are banking on Aaron Rodgers returning to be their starting quarterback in 2026. In fact, I'm told the only way Rodgers is not the starter in Pittsburgh this season is if he decides to retire. So that's definitely interesting there from Tony Pauline. Now, keep in mind, it's Tony Pauline. He doesn't have the greatest track record when it comes to quarterback rumors and scoops and stuff like that. A couple years ago, he said a deal for Justin Fields to the Falcons was like a done deal at the Combine. He ended up being traded to the Steelers. So, take it a little bit with a grain of salt here, guys. But if this report is true and the Steelers are operating as if Aaron Rodgers is going to be their starting quarterback next year and they're not really nosing around for other quarterbacks to be their starter next year, that would likely mean that Omar Khan, Mike McCarthy kind of know something about Aaron Rodgers at this point. They kind of have a good idea of what he's kind of leaning towards and that he's leaning towards coming back and playing in 2026. Now, the question then becomes, why is Aaron Rodgers taking so long to decide? Like, if he already knows he's coming back, why doesn't he just let the team know that already if he truly wants to play? Well, I thought Mark Caboli on his podcast actually had a very interesting theory as to why Aaron Rodgers has not officially made his decision yet. This is what Mark had to say about his theory on why Rodgers hasn't signed yet. Is Aaron waiting to see what's happening in free agency and or acquiring a wide receiver of note? Maybe he's like, okay, I'm interested in coming back. Let's see what you can do for me first. Are you going to bring back Gainwell? Are you going to get me a stud number 2 wide receiver? That's certainly an interesting theory in my opinion, guys, because, obviously Rodgers has some sort of reason why he hasn't made an official decision yet. I will say the fact that he's having quote-unquote multiple conversations with Mike McCarthy and Omar Khan and that communication is there, that tells me that Rodgers has an interest in playing next year, at least to some degree. And it would be interesting, if Rodgers is like, you know what, before I sign on this year, I want to see what kind of moves you guys make. Do you make a trade for a big-name wide receiver? Do you bring back my guy Kenneth Gainwell, and maybe he signs maybe 2-3 days into free agency after the Steelers make their big moves? I certainly think this is an interesting theory, and it would make sense, given that Rodgers is taking his time to make a final designation as to what he's going to do next season. And honestly, I think Aaron might just be going through his quote-unquote process. Like, I think, he went into the offseason and he was like, you know what, I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to take a lot of time to kind of just, get a feel for where I'm at in my life and where my body's at, and then I'll make a decision close to free agency. And I'm not going to rush this decision, and I think that's kind of what he's doing right now. He's going through his process, whatever that looks like, whether that's a darkness retreat, whether that's a ski trip, whether that's whatever he likes to do to kind of get his mind off of football and decompress and all those different things. But no matter when he makes the decision, it certainly seems like Omar Khan and Mike McCarthy feel like they're in a good place. and especially McCarthy seems to really feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to be back with this team in 2026, and I tend to be in the same kind of line of thought there, and I would say at this point it's more likely than not that Rodgers is this team's starting quarterback next season. So where are you guys at? Let me know down there in the comments section. What is the percent chance that Aaron Rodgers is back next season? At this point, guys, I would probably put it at around a 65% chance, somewhere in that range. Give me a number between 0 and 100 for me down there in the comments section. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So in just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Harry's. While I tell you about our sponsor today, let me know the percent chance that Rodgers is back with the black and gold next season. Now let's have a word from our sponsor today at Harry's. And guys, life is all about continual improvement, and that includes the products that we use every single day. Your phone is practically a supercomputer in your pocket. Cars can park and even drive themselves now. Your headphones can cancel outside noise like magic, but your razor is likely still flimsy, overpriced, and stuck back in 2008. That's where our friends at Harry's Plus come in. Harry's Plus has an advanced pivoting system to reach every corner of your face, refined blade tech for a closer, smoother shave, and a weighted metal handle, which is Harry's heaviest handle ever for added control and comfort. It feels like an expensive shave without having to break the bank. With Harry's Plus, each blade is honed at 3 different angles to cut hair cleanly at the root without tugging. Blade spacing is optimized to glide smoothly and avoid clogging, and every cartridge includes a lubricating strip with aloe and vitamin E to calm skin while you shave. But maybe the best part about Harry's Plus is how affordable it is. Harry's owns their own world-class blade factory in Germany, which means no outsourcing and no middlemen, and because they control the entire process from steel to shelf, they keep costs low and pass the savings on to you. And if you don't love your shave, Harry's is going to make it right with you, no questions asked. Their risk-free trial means there's zero downside to giving them a shot. So for a limited time only, our listeners can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/chat. This set includes the all-new Harry's Plus razor, one refined 5-blade cartridge, a 2-ounce foaming shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. Just head on over to harrys.com/chat to claim this offer, and after you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. And a big thank you to Harry's for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. All right, so now let's get into Anthony Richardson here, where it was officially made official today. We kind of knew that this was going to be the case this offseason, but today the Colts and Richardson's representation made it official that he has been given permission to seek a trade this offseason. Obviously, Richardson's a former top 5 pick in the NFL draft back during the 2023 draft, so he's still pretty darn young. He's still just 24 years old. You know, he's pretty darn young still, and Stephen Holder from ESPN had the report today saying, news, the Indianapolis Colts have given QB Anthony Richardson permission to seek a trade, given his uncertain future in Indy, ESPN has learned. So you take a look at Richardson's profile, guys, still very young, just 24 years old. He's obviously got that incredible blend of size and speed, 6'4", 244 pounds. And, you know, unlike kind of like Will Howard and like Drew Allard, the kind of these bigger quarterbacks that get like compared to Josh Allen, like Richardson's really the only guy that's like Josh Allen's size or bigger that, you know, has truly special movement ability. Like his acceleration at that size, the shiftiness, like he's a truly dynamic rusher at 244 pounds, and he's got a bazooka of an arm. Now he's got a lot of the nuances of the position that he still needs to develop in. He's dealt with a lot of injuries, and he did not play in 2025 outside of 2 pass attempts because he had an orbital fracture in his face. So that is just something that he's been working his way back from, but now apparently he's poised to get a fresh start somewhere. And you guys can take a look at what he's done in his first 2 years in the National Football League. And, you know, his rookie season, he had some flashes there, only had 1 interception. It was okay, but then his second season in 2024, he got benched for Joe Flacco multiple times. The completion percentage was 47.7. That is absolutely atrocious. Just had a hard time, you know, hitting just the easy throws. The 3-yard out route it seemed like a challenge for Anthony Richardson, and you know he's certainly somebody that needs to take that next step if he's going to be a legitimate starting option for an NFL team. He lost obviously the QB battle to Daniel Jones last year in Indianapolis. Now, in my opinion, guys, Richardson is still an intriguing quote-unquote rehab quarterback option. Like if you're looking for that next Sam Darnold, if you're looking for that next Baker Mayfield, if you're looking for that next Daniel Jones, where, you know, they start in a place place. They're not ready to play. They don't play very well early on in their career, but then they go somewhere else and they find success. Richardson, you can make an argument, fits that mold as a former top 5 pick, super talented guy, still developing, still only 24 years old. There's still plenty of time, theoretically, for him to become a pro and, get better at the nuances of the position. And, I think that Richardson's an interesting kind of QB target possibility for the Steelers, but I would only be interested in him if 2 conditions were met. Number 1, he's acquired to be Pittsburgh's backup quarterback next year, not their starting quarterback. I think if you bring in Richardson after essentially a year off dealing with that orbital fracture, I just don't think he's going to play at a high enough level for the Steelers to reach the heights that they want to hit. I just don't think that the chances of him playing high-level football are high enough for me to want to take a chance on him as a starter. But as a QB2 behind a veteran like Aaron Rodgers, he could spend this year to develop, to work on his footwork, to work on everything that he needs to develop into an NFL starter, and then he can eventually become the team's starting quarterback. Then my second condition is that the Steelers can get him for the right price tag, namely a day 3 draft pick. And, this kind of reminds me of the situation a couple years ago when the Steelers were able to get Justin Fields for just a conditional 6th-round pick. Now, that 6th-round pick would have converted to a 4th-rounder if Fields played 50% of the offensive snaps. I think you could do something very similar here with Anthony Richardson here in Pittsburgh, and that would be something that I would be somewhat interested in, especially if Aaron Rodgers is coming back and you're looking for another potential long-term option to compete with Will Howard to be the next franchise quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So what do you guys think? If the Steelers ended up getting Anthony Richardson for the Justin Fields deal here, a conditional 6th-round pick in next year's NFL draft in 2027, would you accept this trade? Type A for accept or D for decline. Definitely an interesting topic. I know Richardson's a very polarizing quarterback, so let me know your thoughts on him down there in the comments. Now, there's another quote-unquote plan B quarterback option here for the Steelers that's now available if Aaron Rodgers retires, and it is Derek Carr, as Jordan Schultz from Fox Sports claims that Derek Carr is getting interest from, apparently good football teams here. Schultz reported this yesterday, saying sources in talking to teams in the quarterback market, there's a strong believe former Saints quarterback Derek Carr is very serious. By the way, we misspelled his name on the graphic. That's my mistake. About unretiring and returning to the NFL in 2026. Carr's rights belong to the Saints, but teams with winning aspirations have real interest in the former 4-time Pro Bowler. Now listen, man, on paper, Derek Carr isn't as bad of a quarterback as I think a lot of people seem to think that he is. Like, people seem to think that he's like a bottom 5, bottom 10 starting quarterback in the league. And listen, man, when he was in New Orleans and even in his time with Las Vegas, I think he was a better quarterback than that statistically. You can take a look at what he did his final season there in New Orleans when he had Clint Kubiak as his offensive coordinator. Now, obviously, that Saints offense, took a dip later in the season because they just had so many injuries to their offensive line, to their receivers. But, despite all that adversity, Derek Carr had some pretty decent numbers, man. He was top 15 in adjusted EPA per play, almost top 10 in completion percentage over expected. Like most of these key areas that you look at, he was at least average, if not above average, in all of these categories. So I think he's a middle of the pack starting quarterback, or at least he was when he decided to walk away from football last offseason. However, I'm just not a big fan of this idea of bringing in Derek Carr. And we talked about Carr a little bit last year as a potential quarterback option. And, a lot of the same concerns are still there for me personally. First off, Derek Carr hasn't played in a year. And usually when NFL quarterbacks essentially take a year off playing the position, when they come back, they don't play very well. I mean, just look at Deshaun Watson. I mean, he was a star-level passer with the Houston Texans, has to take a year off, then he gets traded to Cleveland, and the Super Bowl expectations, gets the huge contract, all that different stuff. How'd he play? Terribly. I mean, his final season before he had his Achilles tear 2 seasons ago, he was the worst quarterback in the league in adjusted EPA per play. By the way, Shadur Sanders, the quarterback that replaced him last year, was also dead last in that category. So have fun with that quarterback battle next year, Cleveland. But I just don't know if I believe in quarterbacks taking a year off of the National Football League and then coming back and playing at a high level. That's number one. Number two, I don't consider Derek Carr an AFC North QB. Now, you might be saying, well, what does that exactly mean, Jack? Well, it means somebody that can thrive in cold weather conditions and can play, in the cold and when it's windy outside and all those different things. And Derek Carr, by the numbers, has been notoriously terrible in cold weather games. I mean, remember when he came to Pittsburgh and Kenny Pickett absolutely, wiped the floor with him in that Christmas Eve game a few years back? Like, he was absolutely terrible in that game, and pretty much every time he's played in the cold in his career, it's been a bad performance for Derek Carr. Guess what? When we get to January here in Pittsburgh, and the expectation is you got to win cold weather football games in the playoffs here in Pittsburgh. I just don't see him being able to do that here with the black and gold. And then the final reason why I'm not too high on trading for Derek Carr is you got to trade for him. Like, you got these two concerns right here that are enough as is, but now you got to trade who knows how high of a draft pick to get the rights from the New Orleans Saints. I mean, I'm sure it'd be like a day 3 pick or whatever. It wouldn't be that much, and the Steelers certainly have the draft capital to make a trade work. But like, Derek Carr, with the concerns that I have about him, it's like, does it really make sense for you to go and get him and trade for him? I personally don't think so. I think there's better quarterback options out there, namely just have Aaron Rodgers come back for a year. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section between these 5 quarterback options. These are kind of the 5 most popular names that are out there right now. Between these 5 options, who's your starting quarterback next year? Type AR for Aaron Rodgers, MW for Malik Willis, KM for Kyler Murray, DC for Derek Carr, or WH for Will Howard. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Now, before I go here tonight, guys, I do want to get you guys the list of names from the NFL Combine that we did here today. Get confirmed formal interviews with the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you didn't watch our video yesterday, the reason why this is important is because the Steelers very rarely take a player in round 1 if they don't have a Combine formal interview, okay? So let's take a look here at the quarterbacks. Today it was confirmed that Ty Simpson and Drew Aller are getting formal Combine interviews. I mean, that's not surprising by any stretch of the imagination. I would assume the Steelers are pretty interested in both of these guys, and they're going to do their research on both of them as the draft process goes on. But then we get to the wide receiver position. Just one name today that we got confirmed was Omar Cooper Jr. Apparently, Omar has been getting a ton of interest. About 20 teams in the National Football League have requested a formal interview with Mr. Cooper, so I think he's probably going to end up going round 1. He could be a potential option for the Steelers at 21 if the big 3, Tyson, Tate, and Lemon, are all gone by the time the Steelers pick. Then we get to the cornerbacks, and this is the biggest group of the day, where we got Mansour Delane, Jermod McCoy, the top 2 corners in this class the Steelers met with today. Colton Hood, another potential first-round pick that they met with. Brandon Siss, who was very complimentary of the Steelers, by the way, in his press conference today in Indianapolis. D'Angelo Pons, a day 2 cornerback prospect out of Indiana. Keith Abney, another day 2 guy. Keontae Scott, who's more of a nickel out of Miami. Don't know if that one's a formal or an informal there. That's why he has the asterisks. And then Dalen Everett from Georgia also got a formal with the Steelers. But then at the safety position, we talked about Caleb Downs yesterday. It was officially confirmed today. Dylan Thieneman out of Oregon, really good safety, also got a formal. AJ Halsey from LSU. It's unknown if that's a formal or informal. Same thing goes with Zachy Wheatley from Penn State. Then Bud Clark from TCU, who had an awesome Senior Bowl, got a formal with the Steelers as well. Then yesterday, I believe it was Chris Halleck reported that Avian Terrell was going to get a formal interview with the Steelers. Terrell said that he has not met with the Steelers yet in his press conference today, so apparently that report was false, and the Steelers did not meet with the Clemson corner. That's expected to go round 1. So when it comes to Ty Simpson or Drew Aller, right now there's a kind of a debate going on right now. Which one would you take for the right price tag? There's, Ty Simpson would probably have to go in round 1. Aller would probably go in round 3, maybe round 2, but more likely in round 3. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Who would you rather draft? Ty Simpson in round 1 or Drew Aller in round 3? Type TS for Simpson, DA for Aller. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. For me, it's an easy decision. I'm taking Drew Aller in round 3. Now, that'll be it for today's edition of Steelers News and Rumors from the NFL Combine here in Indianapolis. I really do appreciate all of your guys' support. We're going to have more stuff for you guys tomorrow, and we'll be live for our one and only live show this week to kick off your weekend. That all starts at 6 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. We'll also have a video come out early in the day tomorrow with all the news and rumors that comes out between now and then. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already, if you don't want to miss that video. And until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.